Hello friends, would literally only drink Diet Pepsi and play Dota if sleeping and eating wasn't necessary for life here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of Dota Alchemy, and this video is Heroes of the Week. Our up-and-coming hero for this week is Lifestealer, who has a 54% win rate in over 700 games in pro-level pubs. Why is Lifestealer so strong? When 7.23 originally dropped, this hero was ubiquitously considered broken as a position 5, but played completely differently than it's played right now. In fact, I'd say that the 5-role Lifestealer might have been the most broken meme build that has ever been in Dota. The build was to grab as many auras as you can and sit AFK infested in somebody for the entirety of the game. As a result, in 7.23b, Infest allied hero bonuses were nerfed, making this build far less viable. However, because of this build being so popular and overpowered, Lifestealer subsequently fell off, and this is despite the non-meme changes in 7.23 actually being quite strong for a carry build. His base attack speed was increased by almost 50%, his base attack time was also sped up by about 10%, Feast was given a 60 attack speed modifier as well as its lifesteal, which was reduced a little bit. The attack speed was unfortunately removed from Rage, but now it gives you 15% bonus move speed, and this is on a hero that already has ludicrously high base movement speed, 325. His level 10 attack speed talent was also increased from 20 to 30. So to summarize the changes, Lifestealer is a speedy boy. It took a while for people to figure out the correct build for Lifestealer after the meme 5-position build fell off, but right now the win rate is skyrocketing with a Treads, Mjolnir, Heaven's Halberd, and Abyssal Blade build. Essentially, attack modifiers are super strong on this hero because of his natural built-in attack speed, just like Windranger with Focus Fire. How do you play Lifestealer? 1. Pick Lifestealer carry. 2. Start Quelling Blade, Orb of Venom, Tango, and Branch. 3. Slap your laning opponents with your Oov every time they step up to the creep wave. 4. Go Javelin into Treads into Maelstrom. Continue slapping your opponents with these items. 5. Sit in the safe lane and defend the tower with your infinite mobility and survivability. If you take their offlane tower, then try to farm their triangle with said survivability. 6. Once your safe lane becomes undefendable, push in the most aggressive place possible away from your team, try to farm the nearby jungle, preferably the enemy teams if you can. 7. Force the enemy team to split up, then go for infest bombs when they're split. Always hold your TP while you're farming so you can TP in and help your team with big fights because this hero is quite good at fighting. How do you counter Lifestealer? 1. Pick heroes that don't care about magic immunity, such as Faceless Void, Bane, or Spirit Breaker. 2. Pick heroes who do a lot of physical damage in lane, such as Slardar, Ursa, or Nature's Prophet. 3. Pick instant disablers or silencers such as Lion, Skywrath Mage, or Silencer. Our overrated hero for this week is Shadow Fiend, who has a 44% win rate in pro-level pubs with about 1,500 picks. When Shadow Fiend was buffed in 7.23 and subsequently buffed in 7.23c, I was convinced that this was a very broken hero. When I made my ranking every hero in Dota video in 7.23c, I put SF in the OP tier of heroes, or the S tier of heroes. My reasoning is that any time that Valve has taken a hero who completely lacks some sort of capability in Dota, and then they give it that capability, they typically instantly become overpowered and then get nerfed in the patches thereafter. This is because a lot of Dota heroes are extremely good at certain things, but as a trade-off, they totally lack something else. Remember when they buffed all of the kiteable heroes in Dota, like Legion Commander and Lifestealer, by giving them plus 15 move speed? Neither of those heroes have fallen out of the meta since that buff. That is typically how these things work, and this is along the same lines as Shadow Fiend currently. With that being said, the hero is currently good, but definitely overrated by many players. Since a few people played SF in pro games and they did certain builds and they played it really well, he's become a scourge. He's been plaguing pubs in every bracket. But more so, I mean that in the sense of the Pudge or Invoker scourge. It's almost entirely a skill-based hero, and I think people massively overestimate their own skill with it. It's the sort of hero that people pick when they're fighting over the mid lane with somebody, and they pick it first just so the other guy has to go play another lane. The big problem with SF is that no matter how farmed you get, you are still extremely squishy. Your net worth can actually be a detriment to your team if you're not extremely careful with your positioning. Lina also falls victim to this exact same problem, and as a result, it's not picked very much as a mid laner. These two heroes can be heavily punished by a good draft and good play, and that, in my opinion, is why SF is overrated. Our underrated hero for this week is Nightstalker, who has a 54% win rate in pro-level pubs with about 300-400 picks. Why is Nightstalker good? First and foremost, the majority of us already know how strong Nightstalker was at the end of 7.22 because he, like SF is now, was a scourge in every single pub in both the carry and the offlane position. Since then, he's actually only been nerfed. In particular, the Aghanim Scepter no longer reduces the cooldown of Void by 2 seconds, and the stun duration of Void with the Ags is now 0.5 instead of 0.6. I had this theory in the patch where NS Ags was considered so broken, and I still hold this opinion despite the nerfs. People picked Nightstalker because of the Ags reworks plus the Void daytime buffs, but Nightstalker has been broken because the ultimate and the silence were reworked and not just the Ags. The ultimate and the silence has not been nerfed anywhere near enough to render this hero completely obsolete. Flying 1800 night vision, plus 150 damage, flying movement where you can run over cliffs and trees, 40% move speed, 80 attack speed, and a 7.5 second instant AoE silence on a 15 second cooldown is something that is limited only by creativity. Pick an OD with Nightstalker, and OD becomes a god because you have somebody to give him vision and somebody to peel and tank for him. Pick a Magnus with a Nightstalker, and you get a free RP in every fight because of his vision and an AoE silence as well as damage to follow up the reverse polarity. I can understand if this argument alone isn't enough to justify Nightstalker being so strong despite no direct buffs. But there are actually other big indirect reasons why Nightstalker is making a comeback in pro-level pubs, or I should say a small comeback currently in pro-level pubs. 1. People have gotten a lot smarter about skilling Nightstalker. They are skipping talents completely until level 15, where they are using the manually clicking talents trick to skip the level 10 talent altogether and to go straight for the plus strength talent that's a level 15 talent. This means that Nightstalkers are running around with higher points in their abilities at earlier levels, greatly making up for the previous nerfs to the hero. 2. People have gotten far better at building Nightstalker in terms of items as well. The build is Treads plus Drums, which are two very buffed items by the way, into Blink for backline catch, then into Nullifier to pair with the Nightstalker Silence, effectively giving you a 15 second cooldown Doom ability. How do you play Nightstalker? 1. Pick Nightstalker for the safe lane or the off lane. 2. Use Void to exclusively secure ranged creep blast hits, or I should say almost exclusively. 3. Abuse your high base damage and regen by using your body as a meat shield on the wave to secure denies and last hits. 4. At nighttime, keep your TP ready to respond to dives. If your lane is hard, you can rotate aggressively. If your lane is easy, you can sit there, farm, destroy your lane, and then rotate defensively if the enemy team dives you. 5. Every time your ult is up after the laning stage, you should look to be active and get kills. Frontline for your team and look to jump the enemy backlines in fights. 6. Whenever your ultimate is down and it's daytime, look to stand in front of important towers as a wall so you won't be completely useless. If that's too dangerous, then you can push side lanes aggressively and rinse and repeat step 5 and step 6. How do you counter Nightstalker? 1. Pick heroes who can kite his mobility, such as Kunkka with X, Bloodseeker with Rupture, or Puck with Dream Coil. 2. Pick heroes who punish his incredibly weak first 5 minutes of laning, because of course it's daytime, such as Naga Siren or Timbersaw. 3. Pick heroes that just don't care about getting silenced, such as Lycan or Wraith King. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with my choices for Heroes of the Week, and if you disagree and think I'm an idiot, well, let me know that as well. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you in another video.